On a bleak Florida morning in December 1989, a highway patrolman discovered the abandoned car of a man named Richard Mallory. Days later, his lifeless body was found in the woods, shot multiple times, his corpse left to rot in the swamp. It seemed like another senseless roadside killing, a robbery gone wrong, perhaps. But this was no ordinary crime. It was the beginning of a killing spree that would make headlines around the world. A story so chilling and tragic that it still haunts the American imagination. The killer was not the kind of predator anyone expected. She was not a hulking man lurking in shadows, nor a faceless phantom slipping through windows. She was a woman, a prostitute who roamed the highways, hitching rides, selling her body for survival, and carrying a .22 caliber pistol in her purse. Her name was Aileen Wuornos, and she would become known as America's first female serial killer. Aileen Carol Wuornos was born in Rochester, Michigan, on February 29, 1956. Leap year baby, who would leap into a life of chaos. Her childhood was marked by tragedy even before she could walk. Her father, a convicted pedophile, hung himself in prison before Aileen ever knew him. Her mother abandoned her at age 4, leaving Aileen and her brother to be raised by their grandparents. But raised is too kind a word. Her grandfather was a violent alcoholic who abused her physically and emotionally. By age 11, she was trading sexual favors to local boys for cigarettes and food. By 14, she was pregnant, allegedly by a family member, and forced to give the baby up for adoption. Cast out of her home, she lived in the woods, prostituting herself to survive. From these beginnings, Aileen developed a deep hatred and distrust of men. She learned that sex was currency, that violence was inevitable, and that the world was a place where the strong devoured the weak. She drifted through her teenage years as a runaway, hitchhiking across the country, drinking heavily, stealing cars, and earning a reputation as a hot-tempered drifter. Arrest records followed her: disorderly conduct, armed robbery, auto theft. She was a woman on the margins, surviving day by day. By the 1980s, Aileen had settled into Florida's highways as her hunting ground. She worked truck stops and back roads, offering sex to strangers in exchange for cash or rides. In 1986, she met Tyria Moore, a hotel maid in a Daytona gay bar. The two fell into a tumultuous love affair. For the first time, Aileen felt she had someone to love her back. But their relationship was fueled by desperation. Money was scarce, and Eileen's work as a prostitute barely sustained them. With Ty at her side, Eileen's bitterness towards men grew darker. On November 30th, 1989, Aileen flagged down 51-year-old Richard Mallory, an electronics store owner. According to her later accounts, he became violent, tried to rape her, and she shot him in self-defense. But whatever the truth, Mallory was only the first. Over the next year, 6 more men would meet similar fates. David Spears, 43, a construction worker. Charles Carskadon, 40, a part-time rodeo worker. Peter Seams, 65, a retired merchant seaman whose car Aileen later crashed. Troy Burris, 50, a sausage salesman. Charles Humphreys, 56, a retired Air Force major and child abuse investigator. Walter Antonio, 62, a trucker and police reservist. Each man was shot multiple times, their bodies dumped in remote areas. Aileen stole their cars, wallets, and belongings, often pawning items to fund her drinking and survival. The killings spread fear through Central Florida. A phantom hitchhiker, a female predator, was murdering men along the highways. Police struggled, at first, to connect the dots, but Aileen and Tyria were reckless. They pawned stolen items using their real names. Witnesses spotted them driving victims' cars. Eventually, sketches of the 2 women circulated widely. By January 1991, the net was closing. On January 9th, police arrested Aileen at the Last Resort, a biker bar in Daytona. Tyria, fearing implication, quickly cooperated with police. She agreed to wear a wire and trick Aileen into confessing. She finally confessed, "I killed them. I shot them dead. They deserved it." Her trial in 1992 was sensational. The press portrayed her as the damsel of death, a predator who lured men with promises of sex and then executed them coldly. Prosecutors painted her as calculating and cruel, robbing her victims before killing them. The defense argued she was a victim herself, a woman brutalized all her life who snapped after years of abuse. Aileen herself testified in a volatile, angry manner, claiming the men tried to rape her, that she had no choice but to shoot. The jury was unmoved. She was convicted of 6 murders and sentenced to death. For a decade on death row, Aileen's story fascinated the world. Journalists, authors, and filmmakers sought her out. Nick Broomfield's documentaries, Aileen, The Selling of a Serial Killer, and Aileen, Life and Death of a Serial Killer, captured her paranoia, her rage, and her moments of startling vulnerability. She railed against the system, claiming police allowed her to keep killing, so they could profit from book and movie rights. At other times, she confessed flatly, "I killed them, cold as ice, and I'd do it again." In 2002, Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison. Her final words were cryptic. "I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus June 6th. Like the movie Big Mothership and all. I'll be back." Her legacy is complex. To some, she was a victim who struck back, a woman who had endured rape, abuse, and abandonment until she could take no more. To others, she was a cold-blooded killer who executed men for profit. Hollywood would turn her story into the 2003 film Monster, with Charlize Theron's Oscar-winning portrayal capturing both her savagery and her suffering. Aileen Wuornos remains an enigma, the face of a woman twisted by pain into a monster, or perhaps a monster created by the cruelty of others. Her story forces us to ask, where does victim end and villain begin? Was she the first female serial killer, or a broken survivor lashing out at a world that had never shown her mercy? Tonight, the highways of Florida run smooth and quiet, but the ghost of Aileen Wuornos still haunts the asphalt. Every hitchhiker's thumb, every lonely roadside carries the memory of the woman with wild eyes, a pistol in her purse, and a rage that would not die. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Crimson Narratives, because sometimes the monsters we fear most are born from the world we create.